Let's talk money.
I don't have your money.
I know I'd be a lot happier with some extra cash.
Is this about money?
Obviously, this is all about money.
Oh, man, we got bills to pay, buddy.
With practical tips and a focus on Scripture, let's talk money. With Dave and Reb. From More Than Enough. Real conversations about money for real people. Let's talk money.
Are you ready to talk money, Reb?
I'm ready to talk money.
Yahoo! And I always say that, but I am excited because this is a show where Dave, that's me, and Reb, that's you, talk about the hard issues around money. And we are so thankful that you're here. I guess I'll do a little housekeeping first because this is just a show with you and I in the studio all by ourselves.
No guests.
But very important show. Very important show. So a little housekeeping. If you haven't heard our show, you're a first-time listener, welcome. We're so grateful that you're here. You can find all of the archive shows on chri.ca, morethanenough.ca, and notmine.ca. So those are the three websites that have players. You can just search, click, all that. If you're a podcaster, of course, all of the shows are on the podcasting platforms, YouTube, iTunes. We're on video on YouTube. So all those platforms, find us, search Let's Talk Money with Dave and Reb, and you will find us. If you don't, reach out, info at More Than Enough, and we'll get on that platform or we'll find out why we're not there. So how's that? So, and by the way, just a little side note, if you are listening on a podcasting platform, like, share, go ahead and do that because the message of hope and freedom that we talk about every week on this show, we think is really important. And more so, it's Financial Literacy Month. So we have this, kind of groundswell of lots of people are talking about money here in November.
Well, there is a lot of things for today because it's Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend. It is the end of Financial Literacy Month because I wasn't on the ball in my planning on the radio show. So I am trying to be on the ball, even though it's the end.
But the financial literacy, we have 3 weeks of financial literacy and then we blow it all up on Good Friday.
So it also is the beginning of Advent. And really, who wants to talk about money at Christmas? Because I just, it's been such a beautiful fall. We can hardly believe that it's Christmas already. But anyway, saying all of that, there's lots that we want to talk about today.
There is
and
lots.
I always feel like if you guys are watching on YouTube, I'm not close enough to Dave.
Okay.
But
we're gonna
I'm gonna have to ask Will. No, I'm gonna have to ask Will about that afterwards.
Okay.
I always feel like I have to get closer. But anyway, that's just probably because I want to be close to you. Anyway, enough of the schmaltzy stuff this morning. So it's Black Friday. We often do. I don't know. I think for 6 years we've done a Black Friday show.
Yes.
And you guys are probably like, oh, they're talking about it again. And really, we're always too late talking about Black Friday because have you planned to spend your money on Black Friday?
It's never too late.
Okay, so it's not too late. So we're talking about that, but we also want to mention some black. We are wearing black because it's Black Friday. We did that on purpose. But the financial literacy piece. So, but before we talk and dig into all of these things this morning, I want to read a scripture verse and give you something really practical to do. And I'm going to do the practical right off the bat based on the scripture verse.
Wow. Okay, take note.
Okay.
This is a big moment in Let's Talk Money with Dave and Reb. Reb is doing the practical part.
Oh, be quiet. You know what? Anyway, I love you. I'm way more practical than you give me credit for. So I'm going to read Colossians 3. And you know what? You guys, if you know Dave is going to say this has nothing to do with money, but it kind of does.
It does.
If then you were raised with Christ, seek those things which are above, where Christ is, sitting at the right hand of God. Set your mind on things above, not on things on the earth. For you died, and your life is hidden with Christ in God. This whole chapter is really beautiful, so go read Colossians 3, but that's the beginning. And it says, set your mind on things above. And it reminds me of what Jesus said to us in Matthew 6, do not store up treasures on earth, but store up your treasures in heaven. There's another place where he talks about being rich towards God. And I think it's also Matthew 6 because I think it's in my head because we talk about it in our workshops at Unleashed that I lead at through More Than Enough for our coaching clients. Being rich towards God. Set your minds on things above. Don't store up for yourselves treasures on earth where rust and moth destroy, or where thieves break in and steal, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven. Now, we know, if you've been in the Christian world for a long time, we just know those verses. But the practical thing I want you to do today is this. So you're thinking about your Christmas list, or some of us women who love Christmas are thinking about our Christmas lists. And I want you to ask yourself,
men don't think about Christmas lists.
I don't know. Maybe some men do. You don't love getting.
I don't love shopping. So
you don't love shopping.
I like the list part, but not really the shopping part.
So, but I just want to remind you right here on air, this year you're buying all the people in our house who live with us a gift for Christmas.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
I do.
Okay, good. So you might want to take this practical step. So I'm going to ask you and ask the listeners. So have you saved up for Christmas spending this year? And
I can answer that if you'd like me to. I can answer that
go ahead.
On air.
Have you saved up for Christmas
I have
spending?
a plan.
Yes. What's your plan?
I have neglected to save.
Okay.
We do have a Christmas account, a special Christmas account that we put money into all year long. And I think there's money there. But I have to say that Rebecca probably has all that money allocated. We haven't really talked about it.
We did talk about it at our financial day last week.
But my plan, I'm going back to my plan,
what's your plan?
Is that I thought, I have to buy these gifts. Not sure what's in the gift thing. And then I thought, why don't I walk around and see what is all of the metal and the things I've accumulated over the last, year or two. And it's still nice weather. I'm going to load up a whole bunch of metal and I'm going to deliver it. And of course, metal has some value, and I'm going to get some of that money back. And whatever that money get back, that's my budget. So
you know what I love about you? It means that we have a lot of stuff that we can sell. But you say, I really need a new tractor. We live on a bush. And our tractor.
I don't need a new tractor.
Okay, you didn't need a new tractor.
I would like a new tractor.
And the opportunity came up to share a tractor with our brother and sister-in-law. So what did he do, though, to cover the cost? He went and sold stuff. And you're just really good at that. And I just don't think that way. And maybe my time, I just think, who wants to do that? But anyway, that's another story.
But that's my Christmas plan.
So the Christmas plan, let's go back to that because I'm rambling. Let's go back. So Dave has a Christmas plan. You're buying us gifts. Really nice. So if you have planned for Christmas, kudos to you. If you haven't, what are you going to do? Because we all know that people are stressing about money and talking about money and maybe a lot of unhelpful ways right now. And we want to talk in helpful ways. And I want to take you back to these verses. So I want you to take your Christmas list, write down all the people that you need to buy for or you think you would like to buy for, and write a list. And I want you to pray over the list. And you want to say to the Lord, I'm going to set my mind on things above. I haven't planned. There's no point in making yourself feel bad about this. But Lord, there is an expectation. Maybe you have family expectations that everybody gets a gift, and you have trouble getting out of it. Christmas can be a really funny time of year about these kinds of things with family. So maybe you just have this list and you want to give people things. I love buying people gifts. Like, you know that. So write the list and then present it to God. You know, God is in every detail of our life. And he says, set our minds on things above. So we're not ruminating about Christmas, ruminating about how we don't have money for Christmas gifts this year. Let's set it before God and say, Lord, I want to set my mind on things above. And you love people and you love celebration at the same time. But I'm strapped for cash. Or I have a little bit. How do I do this? And then see what he does and start writing a list. What could you get them? Maybe things you can't spend as much money this year, but you know what? God's going to help you. And that is the practical part of this verse. It's taking our daily lives, whether it's a Christmas list or not, whether it's the hydro bill, and say, Lord, I set this before you. Maybe there's a repentance confession thing. I haven't been spending my money wisely. Or maybe you've lost your job and you're lamenting and you say, Lord, you say you're my provider. I want to set all of these things before you. I want to set my mind on things above. And you say that when I do, we can trust that that we will be provided for, our food, our clothing, and our shelter. So,
and it reminds me of, one of my favorite verses is Romans 12, 1 and 2. But, again, in the same way, we present ourselves as living sacrifices. I'm presenting this part of my life so that we will know what is good, pleasing, and perfect will is.
Right.
I missed a bunch in there, but kind of going, okay, so Lord, what is your will? What is your plan? We certainly know that the Lord is generous, that his heart is one that loves to give. And so, I'm going to take a little step back. We do have the 5-minute Christmas financial awareness creates empowerment. Face your Christmas.
That's right.
And so I'm
Face
going to
your
just
Christmas.
take that little step back and go, okay, so get one sheet of paper, put 3 columns on that sheet of paper. And on the left column, you put all those names that you say. You say, okay, there's all the names of the people that I want to give gifts to. And then in the center column, you put a dollar amount. And that might be the part where you're actually praying through and saying, Lord, what is it? Give me creative ideas, or give me even a dollar amount that we can put down.
And it's okay to write what you'd like. Like if you think everyone's going to get $100, but at the end when it adds up to $1,000 or $2,000, let's say, you don't have it. So then you take that again to the Lord. The whole thing
you can now present to the Lord. And the third column, of course, is okay, how much did I actually spend on that person when you go out and do it? And today being Black Friday, you go, okay, before this is a 5-minute exercise and then prayer. So however long you spend in prayer on it, but you can do this list in 5 minutes. So if you haven't went shopping for your Black Friday stuff yet, or you're shopping now as you're listening, go, wait a minute. I want to stop. I want to take 5 minutes. I'm going to write the list. I'm going to put the dollar value on there. I'm going to present that before the Lord. And I'm going to have the attitude of, what are the things that are above and not the things that are here on earth? Like I want to present it in the same way that you said.
And you never know what kind of creative ideas. I remember our friend Arlene Borg, wife of Ray, she had wanted to get something for her granddaughter. And it turned out to be a price she did not want to pay. And in the end, she found it secondhand, brand new. And she's a woman who loves shopping that way and finding the deals. And it's kind of fun. And if you're not that kind of person all the time, and I'm not always, I actually call her and tell her, I'm looking for this. Maybe you have a friend who can look for you if you don't like doing that. Why not? Call a friend.
And I had another friend, I'm just reminded that she did that, saying, hey, this Christmas, I really want to bless a bunch of people. And then she got the creative idea to invite everybody over for kind of a Christmas party thing, which she had prepared and put a whole bunch of extra thought and energy. And I think there was a comedian there or something. Anyways, it was really, I wasn't invited.
Oh, she did an event for her friends instead of getting them gifts.
Instead of getting them all individual, because the gift, in the end, the gift that she wanted was presents. She wanted to be with them. And she wanted to, so that was, that was a creative way. As she brought it to the Lord. That was like, I got this cool idea to do. And so she shared that idea with me. And I'm like, that's a great idea.
Wow.
If that's how you want to present. So I thought, yeah, that's good.
So that's the practical part that we tie in with setting our mind on things above. Everybody who's listening, you may have your own ideas about how we go overboard at Christmas and all that. But if you've hung around me a little bit, I just love celebrations. And if there's a reason to celebrate, and it doesn't mean we're spending huge dollar amounts, but when we present it to God, it'll be amazing and joy filled as you do it, that you're like, no, let's do this different. It doesn't mean Christmas gift giving can't happen if you love to do that kind of thing. It just means you might have to do it different. So I just say all of that in light of it being Black Friday, because we talked about Arlene Borg and our friend Ray, we spoke to him a couple of weeks ago, and he's like, oh, I'm waiting for the deals, because there are Black Friday deals, and we have all sorts of stats on it that we've read about. But I want to tell you that the history of Black Friday, I've read it off a website, it's traced back to 1869. There were two men, Jay Gould and Jim Fisk, Wall Street financiers, tried to buy all of America's gold to increase its value. So I don't know how
There's
true
an
this
ambitious
is.
plan.
I know. I don't know if this is true or not. So if it's not, you guys can correct me. But this is what I found on one website. On Friday, September 24th, Ulysses S. Grant, so we're going back a bit, the president at the time intervened and messed up the financier's plan, causing the stock market to crash and subsequent widespread bankruptcy throughout the country. It was over 100 years later when the term Black Friday swapped meanings and started to be associated with a shopping event. Now, of course, retailers began saying that sales were in the red until Christmas shopping started and then became profitable in the black once that happened. Now, I don't know if I'd ever read that story. I'd read other stories about.
Yeah, there's a couple stories, but I think a lot of the stories, and maybe that's again just from my perspective. I always thought of Black Friday as, this is all year long. Retailers are doing their business, but it is this sales event that pushes American, and it started with American more so that it pushed those American into the black. Now we're profitable. We got the last month before Christmas, and then Christmas, and then But you know what? Charities actually, because I'm on a board of a charity, and we're even saying, this month, November, December, the giving goes up, of course, because more people are giving in all kinds of ways. So in that sense, it's the same kind of thing. But it started in the States, and it made it to Canada in the late 2000s. Boxing Day used to be our big day, but it really has shifted, and I think it's shifted globally. Like, to be honest. Well, the internet, that is the motivator for the shift. So, I mean, again, when we talk about Black Friday, we talk about Cyber Monday. We're talking about and I think I saw the stat, something about 35%. I'm just checking there, of people actually bought locally or bought from a store that they went into versus the other 65% that are buying online,
right,
and buying direct. And I think that number probably is even more skewed as the years go by. We do tend to buy more online. And
especially in COVID, we couldn't go to the store. Of course,
right? And so I think now even, just the consumer, and we're not even going to get into that, but the way we shop now from a consumer standpoint has significantly changed because of COVID, because now things are available. And again, there's all kinds of, I guess the two biggest perks are, of course, discount and free shipping. So when you couple that with, I can order it online and I'm getting free shipping, and I'm buying the thing at a discount,
But I will speak to that shopping locally piece as well. Like, we live in a small community, and there's lots of things that have been happening in November, like Christmas markets and already that. Yeah. And, I'm more minded to shop locally, to support the men and women that I see in my community regularly that are out at fundraisers, that were supporting our local charities, we're supporting. And I think, I don't know how much Black Friday sales happen with that, but I actually also stop and think, maybe I'll spend a little bit more money with local people instead of trying to save a buck on the bigger scale and order through Amazon, because I know then where the money's going, and maybe it might be a smaller gift, but going back to the setting our eyes on things above, as you consider your shopping, and I know you guys might think this is just funny, but I dare you to pray about your shopping. Anyway, you might discover that you're blessing and pouring into a local business while buying something that's of value and good quality and is a gift on your Christmas list.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of I'm going to say intangibles around the idea and the habit of buying locally, where you can't put a price on a conversation that you had with a vendor, or even with another patron as you're going into store, right? The other thing, and we know this, there are certain types of gifts that you just can't get locally. A lot of electronics and
right.
a lot of that you're
and
going
in our community.
yeah. Well, but even locally, you can't. You can go to the big box stores and get a TV or whatever, but you can't go to Frank over here and buy a TV, right? And so, some of these, especially the technology gifts, if your gift is a technology gift, then it is about price and it is about delivery, and it is about I'm going to buy that, whether you buy that in a store that you can walk into or whether you buy that online is a bit irrelevant because it is going to come from somewhere else in the world usually, right? Yes. So you're talking about some of those gifts that a local producer can do, and 100% agree. There's a lot more thought. There's a lot more, wow, this, as I'm browsing or as I'm looking, I'm thinking about the person that I'm buying for. And again, if we go back to our list, our practical part and say, I've got $50 to spend on Reb, then when I'm walking through that marketplace or through that store, I can go, oh, this would be a really great gift for Reb. And it's $100. Oh, I guess not. But you can do that at a local browse, whereas it is different for some parts of our our spending.
True, right. We're not going to Joe's
locally.
up the road and buying a TV. No, that's for sure. So anyway, we're here. It's turned into a shopping show, but everybody has their own perspective. But we do want to just remind people of our phrase: plan what you spend and spend what you plan.
Sure.
That's one of the big. We do have Christmas financial awareness creates empowerment. That's FACE, FACE, but we also have plan what you spend and spend what you plan. And one of the things that we find even in our office and coaching, folks want help, but I want to say this, you really have to know what's happening. You have to know what you're spending. So get a tool to help you figure out. It might be too late for some of us about Christmas, but
it's in a sense, and it's never too late, right? In a sense of, this is where we talk about the hard issues of money. There's a tension between what have I done all year long to save for Christmas, knowing that it comes in December. Like there's no surprises here. And if the answer is nothing, then in a lot of ways you say, well, if I haven't saved all year, then I'm going to be in distress when I think about Christmas shopping because I have to look at my current budget. I have to look at the cash flow that I have right now because I haven't saved. Okay. So going back to the practical part and saying, we don't, and I'll give you this really clear kind of challenge. That's the word I'm looking for. Really clear challenge. Let's get through Christmas without increasing our debt. Right?
I'm writing this one down so I can put it in
big challenge, right? How can we get through Christmas? If you're looking at that list and you get to the bottom of the list and there's a number there that you're thinking, I'm planning to spend all of this money, and you might want to include in that list travel to mom and dad's. You want to include on that list
Christmas cookies.
Yeah, Christmas cookies or something like that, especially if they're in our house and I'm eating them. But anyways, so so you go, okay, this is the money that is over and above our regular spending because of Christmas. The challenge being,
what are we going to do?
Can I do that without that going on the credit card?
Right. Is there something you can sell, like Dave said at the beginning? Is there some things that you can put on Kijiji or eBay or Facebook?
Sell to your friend who's buying whatever for Christmas.
Right.
Deal,
so
right?
So then that is one way to do it. Look at what you have. But there's a good challenge. Can we get through Christmas? Because you guys, one of the most beautiful things is being able to go shopping and knowing you have the money to buy the gifts that you want to bless people with. And there's a whole other piece that we haven't talked about, and that is there is Black Friday marketing out there today and this weekend that does suck us in, and I'll say, and I'm bad for this, it'll be like $99, but then there's tax and I've designated $100. Well, it means we have to go back a bit. We're going to spend $80 plus the tax, or however the tax works, because then you're spending all kinds of money on tax. Well, I did spend $100, but you didn't include the tax. So then I've overspent. So then I'm spending 120 instead of 100. And then it adds up after a few people. So we have to be mindful of the tax part as well. But as we head to the end of the show, one thing that I want you to recognize is that there is a place, it's a government website, whether you agree with government or government things or not, I want to tell you about it. The Financial Consumer Agency of Canada, FCAC, has declared and has done it for like a dozen years that November has been Financial Literacy Month. You can get a newsletter. You can go on there and read their tips and tricks and education. They have a section in their November newsletter on your rights as a borrower. Maybe you don't, it's quite an interesting read that you can go to, and they outline to you what are some rights that you do have as a borrower. They have a budget planner on there as well. Maybe not everything do we advocate, or because they talk a lot about consolidation and all of that. And we would say consolidating is okay, but make sure you're not using your credit card again. And they would say the very same thing. They want to tell you to build an emergency cushion. I read it right on the website, and I printed it out.
They took that cue from us 4 or 5 years ago. No, actually, a dozen years ago. I was actually talking to the FC, whatever the
FCAC.
Yeah. And we did some work together because just on...
You're kidding me.
No, I'm not kidding you. You didn't remember that?
No, not at all.
So I have a great big folder sitting on my shelf of just financial literacy, and they were surveying people in the industry. You're going to take
credit for them?
No, I'm not taking credit, but I think there's an aligning there when we looked at it. Yes, an emergency is really cushion's really important. So
all right,
I'm a Canadian.
Okay, I did not know any of this. I'll have to dig into that more. But anyway, so I'll put it in the show notes, a reminder to go look that up if you want some more information to see how the work that the FCAC is doing to create awareness.
Yes.
I was at their kickoff event earlier in November, and their whole theme for November has been make change that counts, managing your money in a changing world. So I just wanted to raise that awareness to you that there is a lot of talk about money happening and concern over the consumer debt that Canadians are holding. And it's just an encouraging place to find some help as well if you want another place to get educated. So, but as we say, it's not about the money. It's about the heart issues around money and actually applying what you learn. So don't keep it in your head, put it into action.
Yeah, and I think, again, going back to the verses that you started with as we wrap up the show, putting our minds on things that are eternal, putting our minds on things so often, the biggest thing is actually just to look up, because we're so busy trying to navigate the things that are in front of us on the kind of the parallel, and just looking up and saying, I'm going to turn my eyes to heaven, and you can turn my eyes to the things that are eternal. So, Lord, I just ask that you give us, all of us, as we listen and as we commit to making it through Christmas without incurring some other debt, that you would just lead us and guide us and show us your way. And amen. So,
all right, we'll talk next week. More money.
Let's Talk Money is a division of More Than Enough Financial Fitness, where God is transforming hearts and bringing hope for today and freedom for tomorrow. For more information or to comment on today's show, please visit morethanenough.ca.